Most people think that making positive changes in their lives and businesses is difficult, but it's easier than you think. Dr. Stephanie Aldrich created the Habit Formula book, and she wants you to have a free copy of it. In the Habit Formula, you will learn what habits are, where habits come from, and how to form new ones. Habits rule everything in your life, whether you realize it or not. Get your free copy of the Habit Formula today. Go to thehabitformulabook.com for more information.
Hey everybody, you know what time it is. It's lunchtime with the Habit Master. I'm your host, Dr. Stephanie Aldrich, and I help people change their bad habits. When you change your habits, you change your life. So today is what I call Basics Thursday. And what we talk about are just basic life habits. Things that we can work on, things that we can change in our lives that can help us hit our goals or whatever we want to do that's keeping us stuck. So today we're going to talk about our mental capacities. Like, what exactly is that? We have 6 mental, what they call faculties. It's the way that you can use your mind. Okay? And we're going to go over the 6 of them now. When you start developing more and more of your mental capacities and use the gifts that you were born with, your God-given gifts, the gifts that the universe or Allah or, Krishna or whatever, whoever you, worship, that they gave you, okay? We, as human beings, our job, we're put on this earth for a reason, right? And you and I have to find out what that reason for us is. One thing that we can do is help to expand, improve, and actually use as much of our mental faculties as we can. Some people say that, the brain and the mind are 2 different things. They think of the mind more as the soul of our spirit that is eternal, right? That can go on after our body, after we're done with our body, right? The brain, however, has to, it's an organ. It helps to, run the body functions and everything else. So we're going to talk about all that today and see if we can develop habits of using these 6 mental faculties to try to get us ahead. Whether you're in sales, whether you're in medicine, anything, any type of industry that you're in, you want to bump it up a notch, right? You want to earn more money. You want to take care of your family. You want to have fun with your kids. You want to travel. You want to take up hobbies. All of that stuff you can do if you increase your mental faculties. And we're going to talk about that in a sec. Before we get started, though, I want to talk to you about my book. It's called the Habit Formula book. And what it does at the end of each chapter is you can fill out the questions, and it leads you into how to be aware of what habits you have, what activities, what routines that you have that aren't giving you the results that you want. And it actually walks you step by step through how to, change your habits, how to change these routines, these actions, these thoughts, these beliefs that are holding you in the same spot. If you want to improve, you got to improve, right? And the Habit Formula can help you with that. All you have to do is go to thehabitformulabook.com and grab yourself a free copy. So some tidbits today of brain versus mind. Brain facts. Our brains represent 2% of a person's weight and takes up 20% of the energy resources that we have, and plus the oxygen too. It's mostly made up of cholesterol that it uses, glucagon that it uses to, facilitate all of the brain activities and running the body and all of that stuff. So it uses cholesterol, and 25% of the body's cholesterol is found in the brain tissue. So cholesterol isn't a bad thing as long as it's not too much that it's then collecting in the heart or in the vessels and causing some type of heart disease, okay, or coronary artery disease or whatever. but you do need cholesterol in your diet because that's what your brain needs to fuel, okay? It's what your body needs to have all of these mind and mental activities that we're going to be talking about. Recently, it was about a couple months ago, I read this book by Dawson Church. It was called Mind to Matter. And he went through all kinds of scientific studies. Like the whole book was nothing but scientific studies that he milled and pieced together to find, them to give him support on what he was talking about. And what he was talking about was we can actually make our brain bigger. It's a fact. How we do that is if we are, let's say we're artistic and we start painting a lot or thinking in that kind of a 3D spatial kind of activity kind of thing, the areas of the actual brain that we are using, you're going to be causing them to develop more and more neural pathways. And as you're doing that, you're actually increasing the brain matter in that area. So it's kind of like pumping up muscle. You know, you're lifting weights, and what that does is it tears the muscle, and when it heals, it becomes bigger, right? It's stronger. You can do the same thing with your brain, okay? Your brain can also be, they found that, like Einstein, a guy actually, right before he was cremated, one of the autopsy scientists actually stole his brain without the family's permission and dissected it. And what they found in Einstein's brain was that his prefrontal cortex, which was we kind of use that area of our brain to think of spatial relations and complex abstract thinking. It was a lot bigger and just different. We all have like normal folds in our brain, and his was completely different than normal people. So that kind of tells you that, was he born that way? Who knows? Because obviously they didn't dissect his brain when he was young. But as he developed and had this kind of abstract thinking, his brain was actually different in weight and morphology and all of that. So you and I can do the same thing. We can develop our brain matter and also our mental faculties by doing what we love, by doing something that we're good at. We all have a natural talent, a natural ability to do certain things in life. Some people are natural salespeople, like my husband. He could sell ice to Eskimos, right? Some people are great teachers. I think that I'm a pretty good teacher because I can take a complex idea or situation and I can break it up into smaller chunks so that other people can learn how to do those smaller chunks and then end up doing the whole big complex thing. For me, it's just easy to break things down. Other people, they're artists, they're musicians, they're more of the analytical kind of people. You have all kinds of talents that everybody has. The question is, are you doing and exploiting those talents? Are you sharing those talents with the world, with whatever you've been born with and developed over time? And that's the question that you have to ask yourself and answer. If you're not, you're just in some mundane job, it's not fulfilling you, you're bored, you're just there for the paycheck. Well, maybe you have to start, exploring using your resources to try to do whatever hobby you love. Maybe you love crafting, maybe you love, art kind of things, you're drawing, you're sculpting, whatever it is, there's always a way to make money doing that. And if you really are talented, that is your natural talent that you've been born with, exploit it, share it with the world. Okay? So let's talk about these 6 mental faculties, because that can also help you to understand and take a retrospective look at what it is that you are talented in and how maybe you can bring it to fruition and to share it with everybody. So the first thing we're going to talk about is perception. Perception is like awareness of things, and I talk about that in the Habit Formula book. Awareness is, remember when you were a kid and you were in class and all of a sudden the teacher's just boring, you're bored out of your wig, and you lay your head down for a minute, right? Well, that minute turns into 20 minutes and you start drooling on your desk, right? And the bell rings, it startles you, right? And then you wake up and you're like, oh crap, I've been asleep this whole time. I've got, a mark on my head and I've been drooling and there's drool on the desk, right? The world around you was still going on. The teacher was still teaching and being boring, right? The other students were still breathing. The world around you was still going on, but yet you weren't aware. You didn't perceive that the world was going around. Your body was kind of shutting down. Your senses were kind of shutting down, and you weren't aware that you were drooling. You weren't aware that you were sleeping. And then the bell rang, that startled your senses again. Your body kind of woke up, and now you were like, holy crap, I'm ready to go. That's what perception is. We can flip on our perception or awareness of our environment when we actually start looking around and thinking about why. Why are we doing the things that we're doing? So if you want to, let's say, be more organized, okay? You're not aware that you're aware that you're not organized, but you're not aware necessarily how to fix it, right? Okay, well, you got to start building a better habit, right? A better routine. So when you come home, do you just naturally throw your clothes, your coat, your keys, your wallet, whatever, your sunglasses, just anywhere that you feel like throwing them? Or are you aware that you could make a home for them somewhere? You can hang up your keys on a keychain. You can put your coat and hat on, in a closet, right? You can hang them up. That's awareness. That's perception. When you can change your awareness and perception of something, of a routine, of a habit, of an action, then you can change that. But without a perception, without awareness that something's not working right, there's no way you're going to change it. So perception is, I think, one of the most important things for you to be able to take a talent or a hobby or your passion and start living it. You got to be aware of what you're doing. Are you living it? How can you make money doing that and support yourself so that that's all that you do all day? So that you're not in a mundane job, right? That's where perception comes into play. Number 2 is the will. Think of the will as your persistence. You are ambitious. You want to go after, a certain goal. You want to be the salesman of the year, the employee of the month in your company. You want to hit that quota that your manager told you to hit, and you're going to do everything in your power to do it. Well, that's the will. That is your persistence. That is your drive, your fuel. You want to go at it every day. Think of the professional athlete. They have to have tremendous will to be able to get up when their body's feeling terrible, right? They might have a slight injury or a muscle that, is just not feeling right. Their back's messed up. Maybe their knee's really sore, but it's not where they're injured, where they have to have surgery or they can't actually perform. But, they got the aches and pains. They're professional, older people that have been, have the bumps and bruises. They have to have that will, that drive to get up, to go and work out, to go to practice, to go play in a game, right? You and I have that will. Some people are, I guess, more developed than others, right? So some people say, I'm just going to put it off till tomorrow. They procrastinate. They wait until a later time to do whatever they're supposed to do. That's not a good will. Your will has to be strong to get you what you want. Okay? Number 3 is your reasoning. And this is what everybody thinks your brain is your reasoning or logic. If I can spell right. That's basically your conscious mind. It brings in senses, all the sensory information from your environment. That's how you think about things. 2 + 2 is 4. Complex equations and, thoughts and ideas. That's all your reasoning and logic. You can collect information from your senses, and you can either say, yeah, that's cool, or say, no, I don't want that opinion. That's not my opinion. You can reject it. Okay? So when we're thinking about, developing our talents, living the life that we want, you got to think, hey, I need knowledge too on whatever craft I'm doing. I can't just go at it and not be knowledgeable about the ins and outs, the intricacies, all of the details of what it is I want to do. So the reasoning and logic mental faculty is something that you also have to develop. So you have to have perception. You need to know where you are, where you want to go, and why you're not getting there. That's perception. That's awareness, right? Then you have your will. I got to do it. I want to do it. I'm going to do whatever it takes, right? And then you have your reasoning logic, which is your knowledge. It is your consciousness. It is things that you have learned and that you can apply. Number 4 is memory. Now, yesterday we talked about listening skills, right? Now, think about yesterday's episode about listening. So you have hearing, which is the physical act. There's sound waves that go into your ear, and then it's processed into your brain, and you say that that's a certain particular sound, right? A bell ringing, a phone ringing, somebody talking, that kind of thing. Listening, on the other hand, is more of a mental thing where you are hearing the words, but then you're trying to interpret what exactly it is that they're saying. You're focusing your attention on them, and you're mentally trying to figure out what ideas are going on in their head so that you can, help them solve their problems, and earn money, right? Because you're selling your product or service, okay? And the only way to do that is to help your customer solve their problem. Memory comes into play pretty much the same way, okay? Remember, your spouse, and they're talking to you and you're not paying attention to them, and it goes in and out. They told you to remember something, right? With memory, you actually have to pay attention to that. Sometimes it's short-term memory, sometimes it's long-term memory. And there's so many books about how to create a better memory, to, have a strong memory, a memory that, you can remember all kinds of things. I think it first starts with attention and focus. If you're focusing on what that other person is telling you, or not telling you with their body language kind of thing, if you're focusing on that, you can commit that to memory then. So memory is a very active thing. It's not something that, just because I was here talking about, this to you today, and I'm just kind of going with the flow, that I'm even going to remember this in a year. I probably won't, because I'm always doing a lot of things constantly, and I'm not necessarily putting this into my brain as the most important thing I've ever done in my life, right? So memory is a very active thing, and you need to focus your attention on it, okay? The 5th thing is imagination. This is your creativity. This is the way for you to get all of your talents, put your spin on things, and get out into the marketplace. Get out and bring your products, bring your feelings, bring your thoughts, whatever your talent is, your hobby, whatever it is, and bring it into the marketplace. Imagination can also be used to think out of the box, right? We always say that quote, and I say it a lot. Think out of the box. Be creative with your solution. It all has to do with divergent thinking. It's thinking of results, of answers that don't necessarily go with what the norm is, what established protocols are, right? That's imagination. And I think when we're kids, we're all imaginative. We all pretend, we play, we pretend like we're a princess or a fireman or, whatever. And it's like there's nothing around you except the living room, and you're going around pretending like you're Superman. You know what I mean? That's wonderful. They have the ability to put themselves into a completely different reality, and they think that they're like that. They talk like that, and they have big muscles, and they act like Superman, that kind of thing. As adults, we kind of get away from this creativity and imagination site because during school, they want us to increase our knowledge. That's really what school does. When you're in, the lower grades, is they want to develop your knowledge of all kinds of different subjects, right? And your logic. So I think the imagination and creativity part of your mental faculty doesn't get as much exploitation. And it really is a shame because we need that as adults. For us to solve big adult problems, to solve the world's problems that we all have, right, that we're all living through, we need to come up with a different plan. The certain actions and ideas that got us in that place are not the certain actions and ideas that are going to get us out of it. And that's where we have to use our creativity, our imagination faculty, to get us to open up the possibilities and solve the issues that are here today. So we definitely, as we get older, we don't want to just come about it as a reasoning logic kind of person. Well, I've read 3,000 books and I'm just so smart and all of that. Well, that's great, but can you, think your way out of a maze, or, your car broke down and you're in the middle of nowhere? What kind of imagination and creative ideas are you going to come when your cell phone's dead and your car's dead, right? You need to come up with some interesting, creative ways to try to get through the night or fix your car so you can keep going, right? So use your imagination. The last thing we're going to talk about is the intuition. This is kind of your sixth sense. And to me, the more I'm studying spirituality, studying the physicalness of different components of the body, also of the actual brain itself, and how it's contributing to mind power and soul power, spirit power, that kind of thing, how everything is tied together. One thing I've noticed is intuition plays a big part in that, okay? Think of intuition, it's your sixth instinct, okay? So you have your other senses, your feeling, your touching, your smelling, your seeing, and your taste, right? And think of intuition as your sixth sense. So you can just feel when something's eerie, when something's not right. Someone's coming up behind you, even though they're kind of far behind and you can't hear them, you can't see them yet, but you kind of get that tingly feeling, right? That's intuition, okay? I was reading I think it was the Mind to Matter book that I talked about earlier in this episode. And there is an aura. There's actually an energy, a vibrational energy that goes out. And a lot of people that do spiritual healing, they do acupuncture. That is a main component of areas on our body, the chakra points and the meridian system, that those people really focus on, because our body gives out an electrical magnetic energy. And I think intuition has a lot to do with that, where when somebody comes in the room, let's say, like for me, when I come into the room and I'm with my friends, it's party time. I am in a great mood. I come in just like a storm. Like I'm like, bah! Like, let's party. What's up? How is everybody? And I just bring the level of the room, no matter what it's like. I bring the level of the room up. It is time to go. I am ready to party. Let's talk, let's dance, let's drink, let's have some fun, right? Have you ever been in that situation where you're kind of sitting there and maybe your spouse comes in and they haven't said a word. They close the door and they just walk right past you, and you get that feeling like, whoa, they are in a bad mood. I don't even know if I want to like talk to them right now, right? And they kind of walk away. They don't even say anything, right? You get that feeling, you get that sense, right? Because that's the energy or vibration, as some people put it, that they're giving off. And you can pick that up. You're almost like a magnet too, and you can sense that, something's not right there. That's your intuition. So all of these 6 faculties you and I can use, but we got to be aware that all of these gifts we have, and we got to develop them. We can't just be smart in one area, right? And have no intuition. We don't pay attention to what we're doing. We're bumping into stuff all the time. We can't read somebody's mood, right? If you're in sales, you need intuition, because you got to know, are they nervous about something? Do they just want information? Are they defensive? Do they not have any money? Do they, what is their basic characteristic or emotion that they're feeling? You got to have good intuition for that. All this stuff comes into play. Let's say you're a salesperson and they don't have the financing right now. You got to come up and use your imagination to see if you can get them a car or get them the solution. You got to be creative about it. Maybe you got to piece together a couple different loans or put some money down and do it this way or that way. You got to use your imagination, right? You got to be persistent in using your imagination to try to solve the problem. That's where the will comes in. So all of these 6 mental faculties work together in harmony. But if you are smart or very knowledgeable in one, right, you can't be lacking the other ones because they all work together. So I hope this helps you guys today to build good habits, to use the mental faculties that all of us have. And now that you know what they are, you can start working on them. Hey, you know what? I really do like the piano. I haven't played since I was 20 or 12 or whatever it is. I think I'm going to pick it up again. Do it. Do something on the side that makes you happy. That's what this whole thing is about. You're going to create higher vibrations in your life. You're going to give out that aura like, man, this really makes me happy, and I'm in a better mood. That makes everybody a winner. If you're in a better mood, you're going to be nicer to your kids, your spouse. You might be more charitable. You might, be more loving towards, certain people in your life, and it all helps together. So make sure that you're working on all 6 of these mental faculties. If you're lacking in one, start working on it, build it up. If you're not persistent in something and you let things go and you procrastinate, work on it today. Make yourself a to-do list and hit maybe 2 things that you need to do that you've been lacking, that you've been putting off. If you do that, your will to get things done, you're going to say, oh, that was nice. Okay, my bedroom's cleaned up. Now I want to actually hit the closet. Then all of a sudden the closet's done. Now I want to, hit the garage. Now the garage is done. And then all of a sudden your house is completely clean and organized, and you're feeling awesome about it because now you just got to keep it that way. And keeping it usually is easier than doing it in the first place. So that's what makes it nice. So make sure that you're developing all of these. Let's go over these real quick. So the 6 mental faculties that all of us have, that are mental, part of our mind, our spirit, our sensuality, whatever, our spirit, whatever it is that you believe in or that you call it, it's all the same stuff, okay? It's our soul, it's our spirit. We have these 6 mental faculties, and we need to develop all of them in order to be able to give the world our talents and our spirit and to share it with everyone. The first one is perception. So that's the awareness of things that are working in your life, things that aren't working in your life, ideas and thoughts that you thought were good, that worked out this way, that gave you this result, and maybe you need to change them. So if you're aware of what's happening, good and bad, then you know how to control things or switch things up if you need to. Number 2 is the will. You got to have some ambition. You got to have some persistence if you're going to, carry out anything in life. You don't want to put things off too much. You want to be able to be successful, and that's what the will give you, okay? Number 3 is something that we really learn in school, and that's knowledge. That's our reasoning and logic, okay? To have certain skill sets, to get a better job, you need to have your reasoning and logic skills. You need to have more knowledge so that you can go out and do the things that you want to do, have more income, travel some, whatever it is that you want to do. Number 4 is memory. Everybody has a good memory. The problem is you may not be paying attention to it. For you to actually put something in your memory bank, put it in the file somewhere in there, you got to A, understand it, and B, really focus your attention on it and put some energy into it. When you do that and you really understand the concept, the idea, the skill set that you're trying to do, memory will come back and say, hey, I already know how to do that. It's just like riding a bike. Once you learn how to do it, you understand how your body's supposed to move and your balance issues. Then, even if it's 20 years later, you'll be able to jump on the bike and you should be riding away. The 5th thing is imagination. So that's your creativity. You have to have some type of imagination and creative side for you to get out of life's crazy obstacles that it throws at us every day. Whether that's at work, whether that's raising a child, you got to be creative with them, right? If they're having a temper tantrum and they're just being crazy, you got to be creative on your feet to distract them, to gain their attention, and to give them a treat or to give them a little toy or something that then they're not whining and screaming, right? So that's your imagination. And the last one is your intuition. This is that little voice in your head, the little sixth sense that, you know what? I'm in a hostile environment. I better get out of here. It keeps you safe. Wow. These people are my people, right? Just like you guys listening right now. You guys are my people. I feel it. I feel the energy, and it makes me get in my creative state, and I just keep going, right? And I help everybody with all of these different concepts and building good habits, right? That's my intuition. So when you're aware of the environment that you're in, you feel like what people are trying to tell you, you're paying attention to their body language. That's an easy way to have intuition, is their body language. Are they upset about something that they're not talking about? Are they receptive to what you're communicating with them about? That's where intuition comes into play. So I hope that you understand these 6 mental faculties that everybody has. And if you're lacking in something, today's the day to start doing them, okay? To start improving them, to start building on whatever foundation you have. If you haven't done anything creative in a while and you used to like to ride your bike and, do the skateboarding or something, and you used to be able to do some crazy stuff, or you loved playing golf, or you loved painting or something, now's the time to do it. Do something today. Go to the store, grab some equipment or some brushes or whatever, and start creating again. That's what I did with my writing. It's like I always loved to write stories and books and things for myself and for the business, and then I was like, you know what? I'm learning a lot of things. I'm increasing my reasoning and logic, and now I want to share it with people. And so my creativity, imagination, every day I get to use it, and it pumps me. It gives me the willpower to keep going because it fuels me. Okay? So if you find something that can fuel you, that can give you knowledge of a certain skill set or something that maybe not everybody knows about, do it. Pursue it. Give it all you got, and then share it with everybody. So that's it for me today. Remember, you can catch us on Lunchtime with the Habit Master episodes on iTunes and Spotify. And also, go to my YouTube channel. There's tons of videos on there for self-help and personal growth. You could go to the Habit Master channel and subscribe. Okay? So that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and let's build good habits together. I'll see you guys tomorrow.